The wind off the Missouri River cuts through Atchison, Kansas differently after dark. Locals will tell you that. They won't always tell you why. In the file drawers of paranormal investigators across the country, one address keeps surfacing above all others. A modest 2-story house on North 2nd Street, painted white, unremarkable from the curb. Investigators who have stood inside it use words they don't use for other locations. Not eerie, not unsettling. They use the word violent. Scratches that appeared in seconds. Burns that formed on living skin with no source of heat. A presence that, according to those who lived there, did not want to be watched, and made that clear by touching back. This is the story of the Sallie House, and what actually happened inside it defies every logical explanation investigators have tried to force onto it.
Before it became a name whispered on late-night forums and dissected frame by frame on paranormal television, the house at the center of this story was simply a home. One of thousands of turn-of-the-century frame houses built in Atchison during the town's boom years as a rail and river hub in the late 1800s. Atchison itself has always worn its history a little heavier than most small Kansas towns. It's the birthplace of Amelia Earhart, a town built on limestone bluffs and old money, with a downtown that still looks, in places, like 1910 never left. The house in question sits in a residential pocket near the town center, unremarkable among its neighbors, until the family that would make it infamous moved in during the early 1990s. They were, by every account, a normal young family, a husband and wife, and eventually a small child, looking for an affordable starter home in a town where affordable starter homes still existed. They knew the house was old. They did not know, or claim not to have known, that it had a documented history involving illness, death, and at least one account of a child's death that predates their ownership by decades. Like most people who buy century-old homes in small towns, they assumed the past was simply that, past.
The first sign that something in the house had not stayed in the past came, according to the family's own accounts, within months of moving in, sometime in late 1992 or early 1993. The timeline blurred by years of retelling, but consistent in substance. It began small, the way these things almost always do. Footsteps on the stairs when no one was on them, doors that had been left open, found closed, closed, found open. The husband, previously skeptical of anything supernatural, reported hearing his name called from an empty room. A woman's voice, according to his account, flat and without inflection. The kind of voice that doesn't announce itself so much as simply arrive. At first, these incidents were logged the way anyone logs the unexplainable in an old house. Settling foundations, drafts, the mind playing tricks in unfamiliar architecture. But the pattern accelerated in a way that settling foundations do not. By spring of 1993, the family says they were experiencing activity on a near nightly basis, activity that had shifted from ambiguous to unmistakably directed. Something in the house, they came to believe, was not simply present, it was aware of them, and it did not like the child.
The first incident that convinced the family they were dealing with something beyond noise and imagination centered on their infant son. According to statements later given to paranormal investigators and repeated consistently over more than a decade, the child began exhibiting extreme distress, specifically in his nursery, screaming fits that had no apparent physical cause, refusing to be left alone in the room even for minutes at a time. The mother reported one incident in which she left the child sleeping and returned to find him crying uncontrollably, with what she described as scratch marks forming across his skin in real time, not discovered after the fact, but visibly appearing while she watched. There was no animal in the house. There was no exposed hardware, no loose nail, nothing in the crib or the room capable of producing linear scratch patterns on an